goal of this video is a quick and efficient introduction to the Final Cut Pro X interface. Target audience: you probably have experience in Avid or Premiere and you've never invested the time or never got around to or heard too many bad things about Final Cut Pro X. I want to get you over that fear and procrastination. That is my challenge. We will achieve this and you won't regret it. Just a note, if you want to follow this with your own copy of Final Cut Pro X, have a couple of video files to the ready and perhaps an audio file in MP3 as well. Doesn't matter what footage, anything will do. So let's open up Final Cut Pro X and get started. The workspace is fully customizable with standard menus like most Mac applications. Let's all start with the same view. So go to the Window menu, Workspaces, Default, or Command 0. Your layout should now be like mine, depending on screen size and resolution. The container file in Final Cut Pro for a single body of work is called the library. So let's create a new library. File, New, Library. So first of all, here is the browser with its sidebar showing all media items in your library, plus available content on your Mac in the form of photos and audio, and titles and generators. Let's import a couple of clips just so we have something to work with. We'll do this the quick and easy way by just dragging the clip from the Finder to the pre-prepared media event, which defaults to today's date. You can rename it. Don't be freaked out by the smart collections. These are pre-prepared filters for finding your footage quickly. You can make your own too. To change how your clips look in the browser, click here. Any browser item you click on appears in the viewer, where you can review your clips in detail. Now we create a project. File, New, Project. Projects are just the same as sequences, just a different name. Unless you choose custom settings, this project will inherit the video settings of the first clip. Double-click on the project you just created to make sure it's open in the timeline below. Okay, let's get a clip on the timeline. Just use the mouse to move to an in point, then press I, and an out point, press O. The viewer always shows the frame you are currently viewing. Press the spacebar to play the clip if you want to review in detail. Your selection is marked in the yellow box. Now drag to the timeline. Make another clip selection and drag to the timeline, this time above the first clip on the timeline. So, time to talk about that magnetic timeline. Whatever is on the top layer you will see, and the footage underneath will be hidden, like any other editing software. Drag the upper clip to the right of the first clip. Click it into place so there is no gap. Loving that magnetism, I hope. There is a clip appearance option here too, to zoom in and out, etc. The audio is usually underneath, either embedded into a video clip or indeed on its own if it's a separate recording like music or a voiceover. To illustrate this, select a part of your audio file with I and O and drag to the timeline to see a separate audio track. Notice the darker strip in the middle of the timeline? This is the main storyline, crucial to the whole concept of this flexible timeline. It is like the hub of your story. It is pivotal, and there must always be content here. Because we are now on the timeline, the viewer displays the clip where the playhead is positioned. A thin blue line above denotes that the timeline is active and not the browser. So note for editors, in most editing scenarios, Final Cut Pro X has just the one viewer, depending on whether browser or timeline is active. A real space saver, and a second viewer is not missed. Here's the play/pause button. As already mentioned, Spacebar works too. Time to finally show you the inspector, the last main component of our standard editing workspace. Here you will see where you can view or change all properties, color corrections, effects, and metadata for the active clip. Click here to show available effects and add one to a clip. Drag it onto the clip. You will see the effect and its properties in the inspector. Make changes to see it working. To add a transition, click here beside Effects. Drag a transition to between two clips on the timeline. Great! Want to stop the clip snapping into place on the magnetic timeline? Click here to turn snapping off and on. Finally, ready to export or share that video? There's a share button here, or more options through File and Share. You can even have Final Cut Pro X post directly to your YouTube or Facebook page if that's your thing. I hope you enjoyed this getting started video. There will be a follow-up video just to tie up a few loose ends. I hope you can now get started in Final Cut Pro X. Give me feedback if you have any, and subscribe to get notified of the next videos. Ciao for now.